politics professor, Dr. Lauren Wright, author of Star Power, American Democracy in the Age of the Celebrity Candidate, back with us. Good to see you, Lauren. I was interested in this when I first heard the announcement because I'm a Pennsylvania native, and I thought, what in the world is Dr. Oz's connection to Pennsylvania? It is tough to draw even a dotted line to make that connection, but he's not the only one in the race that's doing that, so what are his chances?
It's a great point. That will absolutely be something that comes up in the Republican primary. There's almost 20 candidates in this field total. So that will be one of the challenges he must contend with. But I still don't think he should be underestimated because he does have these built-in advantages celebrities do. Millions of people watch his show. He's got a huge built-in following, name recognition, and he originally came to prominence in a really positive context on Oprah Winfrey's show. And that's an advantage a lot of other traditional politicians do not have.
All right, a couple questions real quick. First of all, when we look at his connection to Pennsylvania, essentially he's been living in his mother-in-law's house, saying that that's the link to Pennsylvania. Was up to this point continuing to work in New York City. For the future of politics now, how fuzzy are these lines going to be? Does it make a difference? It used to be you grew up in that area, you represented that area, you had the blood of that state that was boiling within you to support the people of that state. Does that matter these days?
It absolutely matters, but politics is becoming much more nationalized. And so there is perhaps more wiggle room than we used to think. And we forget, whether it's a negative news story about Dr. Oz or something else, he's still in the news constantly. And that in and of itself is something a lot of other politicians wish they had. So as the nation pays attention to these Senate races, where perhaps before it was just Pennsylvania voters, it becomes perhaps a little less important on the margins, but a huge issue that will come up from opponents and a slam dunk for them in a debate, potentially.
So quick question for you, follow up on Dr. Oz. In the primary, I mean, it's wide open right now. He has as good a chance as anybody. There's nobody else who has served previously to an elected office. If you win the primary, though, then you do have a challenge on the Democratic field. You've got a lieutenant governor running. You've got a current sitting member of Congress running.
Yes.
What does Dr. Oz have to do then? Will that celebrity clout carry him at that point?
Well, it'll carry him pretty far in the primary. That's what my research shows, and is these very large open primaries where voters really can't recognize a lot of the candidates and don't pay a lot of attention. That's where celebrities thrive. However, the strategy Oz is using right now, which I think is very risky, is defining himself as an America First conservative, very much in the Trump style. And he does not have to do that to do well in Pennsylvania. It's a very, very much a swing state, very much a competitive state. And so the advantage sometimes celebrities have is they don't really have to go to the extreme partisan ends of the spectrum to get attention. So that's more risky, I think, than an advantage at this point.
All right. So, and obviously we haven't really, he's at some point going to have to address something other than his medical background when it comes to issues that might affect Pennsylvanians. But real quick, whether it be Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania, Herschel Walker in Georgia, the voter of 2022, are we just voting for them because we're enamored with celebrities, or do people really believe that these are the people that will best represent them?
That's not the only factor. Some of it is this outsider, anti-politician vein that Americans absolutely tap into every election season. And these candidates happen to be Republicans. And so it's a very anti-democratic political environment right now with Democrats controlling Congress and the White House. So that's perhaps an easier context in which to run as a Republican than we might have seen in previous years.
All right, a lot to think about as we get into the new year and the new election cycle. Dr. Lauren Wright, thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Good to see you.